Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Conversation with the Giants. I'm Dr. Tola Awosika, and today we have a very special giant, Dr. Mrs. Stella Okoli, OON. Dr. Mrs. Stella Okoli is an industrialist, a pharmacist, renowned pharmacist, an industrialist, a philanthropist, the MD, CEO of Emzor Pharmaceuticals. Emzor Pharmaceuticals is a leading pharmaceutical company in Nigeria that has been making strides over 4 decades. It's a privilege and honor to be here today on the Conversation with Giants with a true giant, a mentor, a mother, someone who I look up to, who I've always looked up to from childhood. You know how when you see your favorite celebrity, Burna Boy, Wizkid, you start getting excited. This is my own celebrity. These are people that I see and I get really excited about. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the honor and privilege, rare privilege, of speaking to a true giant who has been on this struggle for over 4 decades. And I'm sure we're going to have an amazing time having great conversations that the world can listen and people can learn from. Welcome and thank you very much for having honoring our invitation. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you for, this great privilege, actually.
So we'll go straight into it. So today, Ma, we're going to be asking you a few questions of the journey so far. Can you tell us a little bit about Emzor? Tell us about yourself and your background. Just a little introduction for the people all around the world to get to know you. The girl child, the lady, the young entrepreneur, male, female, that want to be a Dr. Stella Okoli 10, 15, 20 years from now. We'd like to know who that person is.
Thank you so very much. I'm Dr. Stella Okoli. And there are many things to talk about. How did I get to be a pharmacist? Did I choose to be a pharmacist? Did Almighty God make me, or when I was being created, knew that I would be a pharmacist? Because I was born in Kano to a lovely, lovely dad man who believed that he is a very rich man. And a rich man must marry a beautiful queen. He took off from Kano. He was doing a lot of things. He was preferred in so many sectors, to the village where my grandfather is the king of the village and has a daughter who is, very pretty. So my father stayed around that place for 2 weeks until the princess came out. He married the princess and, they had a baby. She was pregnant. And they had a baby. Who came out? Me. Can a rich man have a girl child? Wow. That's what my father was thinking. Suddenly, he started a movement. Train your girl child. He was paying girls, young girls were going to school, they were enjoying it, people respected that. So I did not grow up as a girl per se. I grew up as a child, and that's something very important because I was like my father's handbag, even though that had disadvantages because you're not allowed to go to the kitchen. He is very busy man, and anywhere he's going, he will carry me. And I was enjoying it, going everywhere because he was related to quite a lot of expatriates that were coming from England at that time and was representing them. And he used to win the pyramid, not pyramid, competitions in Kano. And that was really wonderful. So it was wonderful, childhood. But I had to go down to the east because the schools were not, hadn't gotten to the state that they should when I was to go to school. So I think I left for the east when I was 5 years old.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
that's an interesting background to be born in Kano. So you were actually born in Kano.
Yeah. One that Kano.
Yeah. Oh, you speak Hausa?
Hausa.
Oh, wow. Wow. I actually know a bit of Hausa. Kadang. Yeah. Very little. That's amazing. That shows that at that time, now 82 years ago, Nigeria was one. It didn't matter where you were born, Kano, Enugu, Ogun, whatever the case might be, it didn't matter. People will see it differently these days and will find it strange. And I guess that's the evolution that has happened over the last 80 years in this country and has affected quite a lot of things. However, that was never a setback for you. That was never any kind of barrier. And Emzor was born how many years ago? And can you tell us a little bit about Emzor, how it started, what the vision was, and how it's going so far?
Thank you very much. Emzor is God's own creation. Because I was a maths physics student, I excelled very well in that. And when I went to England to do my A-levels, I continued. I went to university, I continued. Then my father came. Oh, my lovely daughter. You're doing so well. Oh, wow. Look at your nice dress. And you want to be an engineer? Engineer, you'll be under the machines. And can you wear these dresses under? Or do I stop buying nice dresses for you? Immediately, he spoke. They've already arranged for me, because I was in Loughborough University at that time in England. And they've already arranged a place that I can finish my university education as a pharmacist. That's why I say God planned it, because the amount of help I got from teachers, from landlady who used to take me to school in England, they encouraged, and I did it in like a year and a half. I finished the course. So I became, a pharmacist by qualification. Then went down to London, went to Boots the chemist, loved, talking to people, selling to them and packaging for them and giving them. That was good. Then I also went to a hospital opposite to see what it is to be pharmacist in a hospital. And when I went there, it was useful because ward round in the morning, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you're a pharmacist, all of you are going on ward round. And all of you will know what's happening with the patient and how best to treat the patient. So it was good. It was good. Then later, I had to go and do my master's, in Chelsea College, London. So that was good because it was near some boutiques. So we are looking at boutiques before we entered. So honestly, it's really lovely life. Lovely. God is so good, And when I finished that, my father said to me, when are you going to do your PhD? I said, Papa, you are the one to read that PhD. Me, I finished. I finished what I'm reading. I want to go back to Nigeria. So I came back I got married in England, and I had my second child was 6 weeks. So by 6 weeks, you can take them in the aircraft. Came back to Nigeria. Nigeria is lovely, a lot of good people, a lot was happening. And it was joy, joy, joy. After my university and master's program, I knew that it was time to go back to Nigeria because really and truly, Nigeria is a beautiful place, beautiful, wonderful. People, the ambience, the food. So I didn't want to miss that. So we came back and everybody was wonderful. Before I left, Kano, they were bringing to my, father a lot of young English students and those that want to go into trading to train.
In his business?
In his business. Yes. And not, yes, in his business. Some people gave him their business to look after. And they are all expatriates. And expatriate doctors were coming to University of Ibadan to learn medicine.
Wow.
Oh yeah. To learn medicine. And Nigeria was something everybody wanted to go to. Maybe you were not born at that time.
Definitely not.
So that's Nigeria now.
Wow.
That's Nigeria I was born into. That's Nigeria I always know. So it's really very interesting, very, very interesting.
So you came back to Nigeria with the family, kids, and
Yeah.
then would you start working in, did you do NYSC? Did you start working with any institution, or did you go straight as an entrepreneur to start doing business?
Yes, at that time there wasn't NYSC.
Okay.
There wasn't. So I was employed by a marketing company.
Okay.
But I really wanted something where you can impact on people. I checked hospital, which hospital can I go to? So as to, also know how people are doing. And I went to one of the hospitals, and it was very interesting because I was the only person, apart from I was the only patient. No, I was the only doctor, the only nurse doing this.
Only person doing everything.
I'm telling you. And I get there very early because you have a sense of duty. And they will line up, I will fix their medicine. Then they taught me Yoruba because it was in Lagos. Ladeko, Meji, Jumo.
Yeah.
You understand? So I will come, they will dispense, give everybody, tell them to have a great day tomorrow. They come again. Then the doctors may come or nurses by 12. I said, what? I went to them. I said, what's going on here? Am I going to be the doctor, the nurse, and the pharmacist? One of them said to me, yes, because I have to build a house. I have to build a house for myself. I said, are you in this hospital to go and build a house? You want to earn money outside to build a house? Or you want to make where you are better and build a house? Anyway, after 3 months, I got another job with one of the companies, and that was good because you have another type of experience everywhere.
Yeah.
People were very accommodative. We had a lot of expatriates, and we have a lot of Nigerians. That expatriate does not mean you're big and no.
Everyone was.
It's so the same man. Nobody, So.
And to be precise, this was in 1960.
It will be 19. maybe about 1970, because,
In the 19th.
because we started the chemist shop 1977.
Okay.
So that, so it was back then is that. And when you take your drugs, you go to the hospital, you detail them. They love it. So you always have detailing means tell doctors about what you've carried so that they will, know whether to prescribe or not. So you dare not go without a sample. So I was going with my sample. When my sample finished, I will run back to my company. I just came back, so I didn't know manager or no manager. I just said, team, what are you doing? I don't have any. I don't have any drugs. I don't have samples for my lovely doctors who give me. I'll carry like this. and I said to him, there's no air conditioner in my car. Stella, really? I said, yes. Go and put air conditioner. I didn't know the other ones did not have. Anyhow, very interesting. So immediately everybody had air conditioner, and everybody, that needed sample got that on time. So the red tape was cut. So I think your question is about.
So the birth of Emzor, how did you transition from
yes
working in working life to becoming an entrepreneur and starting this business? What were the decisions that made you go into it?
Okay.
Were you scared when you started? What were the challenges? So just in the beginning.
Okay. Yes, as opportunity to have a chemist shop came out. And I applied, I got it, I started.
This is a pharmacy?
The pharmacy, chemist shop. Okay, pharmacy shop.
Yeah.
Chemist. I did not know that someone else wanted to start a chemist shop next
to you.
Yeah, in Philanthropy. And I didn't know it was the girl's room. I didn't know. So they said, a condition is for you to stay there and run it and not take up any other job. Staying in pharmacy is so nice. You see all sorts of people, you help them, and you learn a lot. So that was in Philanthropy then. And the university lecturers were passing through our pharmacy and all that, and they come in and, we attend to them. After attending to them, sit in the bag. You have to come again. I don't want you to buy Gumore again. Have something you can buy. And then I'll carry it myself. Take you to the car. Say, bye, greet your family. My people said, managers don't behave that way. Nigerians are a very interesting place. The managers don't behave that way. That I should allow them to do that type of work. I said, what? What's it trying to me?
Yeah.
So that's how we started Emzor chemist. And it was going well, we were driving to Idumota by 6 a.m., 5 a.m. People were there. You buy your drugs, you take them, and make sure that, you have enough for that day.
So the famous Idumota market has existed since then. It's not just something that has been... So Idumota has always been known for housing pharmaceuticals and medication, and people always go there to buy wholesale.
Yes,
that's amazing to know.
Yes.
The name Emzor, is there any reason why you call it Emzor? Is there a full meaning of Emzor?
Yes.
So we'd like the people to know exactly what informed the name Emzor.
I named it after my two children, Emeka and Uzoma. Emzor. Emeka and Uzoma.
Amazing. So right now, Emzor transitioned from doing retail pharmacy, selling medications across the counter, and went into, I guess, the first phase was probably importation of medications from different countries to sell in the market, and then you made a transition to start manufacturing in Nigeria. Can you take us through that journey for you? At what point did you transition from, you make your mind up that you wanted to move away from importing to locally manufactured drugs?
Thank you very much. And when Babangida is in general, Babangida, was our head of state, he made a statement that those that want to go into manufacturing should come and collect their licenses. And that was wonderful. License, manufacturing, why not? So we went to the ministry, very interesting. And what we find out is that there's a door, people were going in, but majority of the people were outside, joking and laughing and, kind of, doing what young people did. Outside you have granite, and you have what again? What's Becky? Is it Becky?
Yeah, it's Becky.
So we be there, eat granite and Becky. People will take one smoke and go and get their license. We didn't know. So somebody saw me there and was very angry with me. Stella, what are you doing there? I'm waiting for my license now. Do you see that door? I said, yes. But we have a queue and we are having fun. Everybody is happy, eating, but eating making it. Anyway, so that's how I got the license. So I followed the route to behind. And it was to import, it was 150,000 naira. 150,000 naira.
At the time.
At that time, to import, machinery. We imported machinery. We imported, machinery for making drugs. But I had to go back to, call my lecturers in the university in England. I say, we have to start manufacturing. You are teaching us, but we're not paying attention. What do we do? So they came, they suggested where we'll buy and what we'll buy. And when we are ready, they will send one of the people to come and help us set it. Len Blackman, they sent. So that's how, we now, when the machines are right, I'm looking at the machines, they're looking at me. What do we do with these machines? We started looking at where, we can develop to a micro factory so those machines can be there while we continue doing our, retail work. So when the place was ready, I called one of our family friends who is very good. I said, please, you have to look after that. Come here, I don't know about this manufacturing business. I love the chemist. I love it. I love the people that come. I don't want to miss that. He didn't say anything. One day, after some months, he came and carried me and my chair to the factory. You are going to be here. You are not going to move again. You will be here and you sort all the problems. I've helped you. Another journey began. And that was good. Because Len Blackman came, and showed us how to produce. He started with paracetamol and a lot of things and, helped us. So it was good. And people loved the medicines that I made. They loved it. So that made us to make sure that whatever we are making must be world standard. Because Nigeria have hosted world people, have helped them to become world class. Why should we not in Nigeria do the same. So that's how, we started. After this product,
So did you find when you were starting, was there existing manufacturers already? Was there any kind of resistance? Did you get resistance when you started? Was there any sabotage? Because today's, and I'm saying this because this was a very long time ago. I think Emzor is definitely over 40 years now.
Yeah.
And I think 40 years ago, Nigeria was a completely different place than what we have today. And being someone who is also in the pharmaceutical manufacturing business, at a very infant level, just 12 years in it, every day I see what challenges and so many issues, sabotage, a lot of issues around manufacturing in general, compliance issues, regulators. I would like us to compare the times. When you started 40 years ago, from picking up that license, that paper, to your first set of drugs that came out as Emzor paracetamol, right? How much resistance did you get from maybe competitors, from government officials, if any, compared to what it is today, 40 years, 40 years plus later?
Everything was very smooth. All we had was praises. Well done. You started. We want more people. We didn't have anything negative.
And we're doing a lot of collaboration in the sector with other pharmaceutical companies. Did they encourage you? Were they vicious? Were they supportive? How was it? How was it then?
I don't think it was difficult because there were many.
Okay.
And there were not many, and we didn't think about competition. We thought about how can we do more for Nigeria. Manufacturing is better than importation.
Yeah.
Let's do. And we had meetings and encouraged ourselves.
So if this was the mindset of entrepreneurs at the time, 40 years ago, if this is the mindset that every entrepreneur had, then I was doing business, manufacturing, and I see these stories a lot. In Kano, coincidentally, when you go to Kano, you see a bunch of factories around the Bompai area of Kano, and you see a lot of abandoned factories that have been run down and no longer exist. It means that 40 years ago in Nigeria, there was that industrial spirit and there was that self-sufficient mindset of entrepreneurs that wanted to build things that would impact the country and also allow the country to be self-sufficient. Pharmaceuticals being one of them, and you were the pioneer behind, that effort and that drive. What happened? Why did we continue on that trajectory? And if we had, maybe 40 years after, there will not still be this gap in the market where drugs are still being imported. There's still a lot of fake drugs, etc. Because it feels like we had enough time to do what was required to make the country self-sufficient and to make it a lot easier for people to come into the market. It seems like things have regressed. It's a lot more difficult. 12 years ago, when I made my own attempts into the sector, everything was difficult. Everything was expensive. It's hard to find finance. It's hard to find the right banking partners that will support you. It's very hard to find the right staffing and skills. What do you think went wrong over the last 40 years as a country in terms of the industrialization of the country, as we speak?
I think governance. Those that do laws must understand, because you do not play with pharmaceutical manufacturers in most of the countries. Before we started this, when I got a license, I went to India to check what are they doing and how they're doing it. And the role the government played is wonderful. Immediately you got your papers, There's a land, and the land is, for manufacturing.
Already allocated by government.
By government, and everything is there.
Yeah. All the infrastructure, everything.
Yes.
To support you.
So you're not looking for anything, really. So, and they will give 50% for the machinery, deposit to the bank.
Funding.
By
the government.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 50%. Because we were supposed to be stay 2 weeks. But I loved it so much. I overstayed. I stayed 3 weeks in India, checking, going there, check, and they continue. All where they are today is where Nigeria should be.
Correct.
If we got the support, and if our people tried to ensure that there's support for manufacturers, then more people will come in.
Yeah.
More people will come in. They should be funding. They should be, encouragement to ensure that, we all succeed.
For me, what this sounds like is sad to say, but leadership, like you've said. It's strange because it seems like in the military days, those military leaders were very patriotic and were determined to put Nigeria in the right direction, even when they were in uniform. And I guess over the period of time into the civilian rule and democracy, that has created, more ideas and more barriers over the period. I think you're right. I think India were very intentional. I also went to India many years after you, and I can say that it's clear that the government was very intentional about how they wanted to position their country and what they wanted the country to lead as far as a global leader is concerned. And today in pharmaceuticals, even over China, India is placed over China in terms of manufacturing of pharmaceutical equipment. People tend to go to India more for the equipments. They tend to be easier to use and maybe better quality. And that's because of the intentionality of their government over 4 decades, 5 decades ago. And I think the advice, what will be the advice? And that brings us to my next question. What should the next 40 years look like in terms of the leadership mindset? What should the leadership mindset be for the next generation of people who want to see a better sector in terms of manufacturing in Nigeria over the next 4 decades? What would be your advice? What would you say the direction the government and the people need to be looking at?
Starting from now, the government should take interest. There should be a forum where government and manufacturers, meet. I remember during Obasanjo's regime, he said that every Saturday, manufacturers will come to Aso Rock and discuss. Let him know exactly
where the issues are.
The first day I said, what's wrong with this, what's wrong with this head of states? We have to go all the way to every week. Do you know, after the first day, we loved it. We never missed it. He understood. He was there personally.
Yeah.
All of us were rushing, going, and we finished by 4 p.m. Nobody is taking our food. Nobody.
Just business of the day.
Yeah. Then I'll turn around and say, did anybody bring private jet, please? Because I want to go back that day. Look at who is this private jet man? A woman. You understand? Because after that, you go home.
Yeah.
Which is important. Because that is lacking. When they took over from him, they did a little bit of meeting. There are no meetings today. There are no meetings. Last year when I went to, we were invited to Asorok to, was this breakfast, yes,
Okay.
with the Muslims.
Okay,
So-
during the fasting period?
Yes. So we invited, and when I got there looking, and when I stood up, I said, for 10 years, I've not seen this place. I've not seen it because we used to every time.
Saturday.
Yes. And by listening,
Gives them more ideas.
by people, yes. That is when he helped Dangote go. I think that place will be good for this one. Tony Lumeli,
To the land, the rest.
Yes. But when you put up your hand and say, a lady, maybe they don't understand. I tease them now with that. So that's the thing. And we must have dialogue. We must have people that know about the industry. You must have people that are interested in Nigeria. Because Nigeria is the best country in the world that I know. The people in Nigeria are very good. What makes some of them to start misbehaving might be difficulties, and they should stop it. Because they are in the best country in the world, and the things will get better. They will get better.
By God's grace.
By God's grace, because God loves Nigeria. It's God's own country. Yeah.
I think I definitely agree with you, man. I think you mentioned that when they were having those dialogues,
Yes.
Saturday basis, the constant interaction between private sector and government is critical for government to be able to shape policies and assist to grow those sectors. And you mentioned that people would raise their hands up and they would give their own suggestions and ideas. And of course, a turn will come for you. And being a woman, they might not understand. I want to. That leads me to my next question. Would you find that you were always the only woman in those rooms when you go for those meetings? That's my first question. The second question is around a lady, a woman in Nigeria leading, they would say, a male-dominated sector. What do you ever see yourself as, or because I'm a woman, it might be a bit more difficult, or what would you have to say to the next generation of women that want to be a Dr. Stella Okoli?
Okay, you asked whether I was
The only woman.
the only woman. No, but not a lot of women. I think we were 3 or 4, but 1 or 2 maybe from the government.
Okay.
Not a lot of people, and also it was very, very useful. And the question, what's the second question you asked?
Yeah, you're in the male-dominated sector, quote unquote. So most of the giants, most of the industrialists today are men. And today you're leading the pharmaceutical sector. Being a woman, were there any challenges? And what would you have to say to a female entrepreneur today that wants to also lead a sector in manufacturing?
Okay, pharma, there might be more men that have ownership, but as you know, there's no difficulty in a woman, getting involved, running, owning, there's not at all. I didn't have that, upbringing about men and women. And the important thing, you want to manufacture well. Do the right things. Use the right methods and equipments and all that. Environment, So whether you're a man or woman does not matter really and truly. I never felt that I'm a man. No one has asked me here, oh, you're a woman, why are you doing this, my stuff? Because we are a family. And that family means you must work hard. You must do the right thing. You must be proud of what you do. don't regret. You understand? Because other younger people are learning from you.
Yeah.
So for me, it's too late to think that I want to.
So what I hear you say is, for the female entrepreneur out there that might think in her heart of heart that it's not possible to be a giant in that sector, that's not the case. Don't have that mindset. Just do what you need.
Of course, they even overtake. They overtake. So no.
Can you, over the course of you leading Emzor, can you give us one critical management tough decision that you had to take that changed the trajectory of Emzor for good? One major decision that you had to say, okay, I have to be very, very decisive and very firm about the direction, and it can either be good or bad. Can you recall one major decision that you made?
Decisions that I make are based on what and where the industry is going. And those decisions can only be for the good of the industry and good of mankind. We don't participate in anything that is not. We can't. Because really and truly, Nigeria is a land of milk and honey. So you can do anything. You don't have to manufacture, to be a business. In fact, if anything is confirmed bad, and that is why the government should
support.
Yeah, they should support. Yeah, so no. People, when you come here, you're a family. Emzor, you're a family. Unlimited wellness. For you, for your family, and for the whole of Nigeria. That's what we preach. And people catch it. And they go and, even people that don't have any education, they come as a cleaner. Not that they're not brilliant. They come as a cleaner. One of them, Clement, is now one of our best engineers.
Wow. And he came in as a cleaner.
A cleaner. And they're doing this study,
And then they grew.
Yeah. There are a lot of brilliant people out there. So we must encourage.
And build talent.
Yeah,
yes. And train. So Emzor is very focused on building people, training people, for people to grow within that's good to know, because
if we are not, I don't think the Lord will be happy with us.
It's true.
Because he allowed us so many things.
I agree. And I think it's one of the things that us young entrepreneurs, industrialists are also trying to use internal growth to keep people motivated. When people see that there is a growth hierarchy in a company where you can come in as a janitor and you can leave as a manager, it really encourages people to put in their best. So it's that's one of the things I think we as entrepreneurs and business people try to do. But it's still very difficult. Manufacturing, like you said, in Nigeria, I say to people all the time, there are a lot of things you can do to make money. A lot of things that are very easy. Manufacturing is one of the hardest sectors in this country to go into. People say to me when I've discussed with, senior industrialists, giants like yourself, they've said to me, and I asked them a question. I said, what happened to all these industries? Why were they abandoned? Why do people just move away from industrialization? And they said, because we found oil. People say that oil made people very lazy. A lot of the industrialists at the time that were either doing granules or doing cashew or doing rubber were majorly invested in their industries, but it were the same people who got the opportunity of oil. So a lot of these guys started owning oil blocks, and there was this big oil boom, and they found that brought in a lot more money than manufacturing. So it was abandoned, right? And today that's what we are suffering as a country, because people were not consistent enough to get us to where we really need to be.
Yes.
And that's because I say this because people run away from it because of all the challenges. And you, yourself and Emzor, out of, a bunch of us that are still coming up, must have experienced a lot more of these challenges. One major one I want to highlight, it seemed like in 2019, the world was stopped. There was this virus that came out of nowhere, COVID-19. And, literally it was like lights out, where everywhere in the world was on pause. People were dying at rocket speed. Countries were collapsing, economies were collapsing. There was a massive recession. What did Emzor do at that point? Being a pharmaceutical giant in the middle of COVID, we all felt like the burden was directly on us, right? Me, in my own small capacity, I felt like I needed to do a bit more to rescue this country in any way. So as many infusion bottles that I could produce to give hospitals, to give the isolation centers, to give, these places that needed it, I felt responsible. And so we'd like to know a little bit about your story during COVID. What did Emzor do at the time to help the situation? And how did it affect the company as a company? Because everybody went through it. 2 years after COVID, we were still suffering from supply chain issues. India was not fully back up. China was backed up with so many backlog of things because the whole world stopped for almost 1 year. So there were big supply chain issues. It was difficult to get raw materials. Nigeria and Africa was at the back of the list for everything. And that impacted a lot on our businesses here. We'd like to know a bit about the COVID-19 experience for you and for Emzor. How did it go and what were the contributions?
Thank you. COVID-19 was a very interesting period. And it's a period that made everyone to wake up early, go to the factory. We have those that didn't have cars or, no transport. So we rented buses for them to take them, to take them home, bring them in the morning, and, obviously make sure we had more things for them to eat than before, because we don't know, when they get home. So for us, we doubled our efforts. You see a policeman smiling on the road early in the morning, saying bye-bye to you, because they appreciated what you were doing. They knew you were going to do something to save lives.
Yes.
And, that was at the center of everything we did. We'd wake up early, you go, and, those days we used to have a lot of raw materials. We used to have a lot, container loads of this, container loads of this, So we were producing with what we have. And sometimes they would send us a message from ministry in Abuja, do you have this? And, we try. So it shows that we have to have our own raw materials here in Nigeria. And we have to train our people. And the young people, I love them. Those that are doing pharmacy or sciences, this place is open. Anytime, come and see. Come and ask questions. There was a time we prepared lunch for everybody. After going around, the boys started crying. I didn't come for lunch. I'm not going to have lunch. I'm going to stay here. They didn't want to go, which is... So we encourage young people, we encourage them a lot. I think, I'll say in a few days time, one university from not a bad dog will come. They come.
You do excursions here?
Yes, they do all the time. We encourage it.
Yeah.
So I tell them, please let them learn. Maybe they can join if they want to. when they finish, you never can tell. So it's something that we're very happy about. Very, very happy about, that we're able to, do such for our people.
Okay. So in business, most people, when they start business, they always have a short-term, medium-term, and long-term plan. Some people have exits. You call it exit strategy. Some people don't feel like they want to do a particular business forever. Some people, they start a business, they grow the business to a certain level, they build a brand, and some of them sell it. Some grow the business and they list it, they do a public listing of the company and allow more participation from the public, an IPO. We've been looking at Emzor for over 44 decades now. What strategies Emzor are adopting as far as its long-term strategy? Why has Emzor not decided to publicly list the company? And what would the strategy for Emzor look like moving forward?
And I think at the moment, Emzor is looking at so many things. Expansion of the raw materials and finished goods. At the moment, we have about 200, but we're looking at 500 to 600, different products. And most importantly, API, active pharmaceutical ingredient, which we need as our raw materials.
Yeah.
Because if you have it, and we have, how many hundreds of it? Somebody was asking me the other day, he said, how many do you want to make this? At the moment, it's anti-malaria, it's 4 anti-malarias that, started to, finalize. I said, I went to, I don't know whether it was China or India, and there was this, is kind of a village, yes, it's a village. Raw materials they're making, pharma raw materials. So I want Nigeria to grow to that. I want us to do, there's so many things we have in Nigeria that we can use to make raw materials. Even cassava, I have not actually digested that very well. They have discovered that cassava starch may be better. So we're waiting for them to find out. Yeah. So there's a lot we can do, and that's what we're doing. But what you're saying to go public, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that maybe the younger ones I'm leaving behind might decide, but at the later, because at the moment a lot to do.
So what I hear you say is you're now going the extra layer, which is you started from retailing over-the-counter medication to going into manufacturing of medication. And now you're going to reverse engineering to manufacture the raw materials that manufacture the medication.
API, yeah.
So you're going into the API. And that's a huge business because that will support not just yourself, but all the fellow manufacturers in the pharmaceutical sector, and reduce reliance on importation. And also that would overall help the strength of the naira against the dollar.
Yes, of course.
Because we won't be relying too much on buying foreign exchange, etc. I think that's a good, and there's a lot to do. I also hear you say you want to keep it a family business, keep it a limited liability company, and if the next generation decides that they want to open it up to the public, then that's their decision. That's what I hear you say. I think it's always good for as far as business is concerned, to allow a new generation bring in fresh ideas into something to grow it. And that brings me to my next question around how you're able to balance family and business. Being a mother, grandmother, a mentor, a mother to many people, how are you able to balance? Because a lot of women, this will be their biggest fear. A lot of young ladies today who are married are suppressing their ambition, are suppressing their ideas, are suppressing their careers because is it difficult to balance family and work? How have you been able to do it over the last 4+ decades in balancing, ensuring that the family front is fine, the kids who are now all grown men are good, and also ensuring that the business remains healthy?
Well, during my period, there was no problem about looking after children, taking them to school and all that, and I didn't experience that actually. And maybe the young generation, I don't think that they're experiencing much because they're not having that many children, And it's important that they go to a good school, they learn something, and they do them. Children will soon grow up and go to, school, and so it shouldn't stop them.
So you have been able to balance. So you were able to balance without any problems.
Problems
schooling and work, because most times people say you have to pick one. Either you're doing a family thing or you're doing or you're working on your career. So
yes,
there are no excuses. If you have an ambition,
yes,
you should go after it. Is what you're saying to me.
Yes. Because there's no conflict.
Yeah.
If there's conflict, you do something about it.
So today, Emzor has over 200 products that it's manufacturing locally. Yes. What would you say are the best sellers, and which ones you've had the best reviews today from the market? Of course, the paracetamol is one very famous Emzor. I remember the adverts. We see the adverts on TV. Emzor paracetamol. I remember the voice of the person actually doing that. These things, stuck in our head. But what would you say is are the best sellers, and how quick some of the new products that you introduce, how quick are they accepted into the market?
Very interesting. Analgesics are always the best sellers, from paracetamol to other analgesics. Why? Because they relieve the pain and they see result. So people rely and buy them all the time. And antibiotics is another thing, because we have diseases that people need to be cured of. Like we have cephalosporin.
Okay.
Cephalosporin. I think that's the only one that we have so far in sub-Saharan Africa. And we have beta-lactam. The IV is not yet ready. That's the one that we must hurry to get ready, because that's not ready at all. And anti-malaria, very, very important. And because people don't know what's wrong with them, they say it's malaria. Everything is malaria. Yeah. So we always, have wide range. And we'll look at newer molecules that are coming and newer formulas for, more potent medication.
So for manufacturing, what departments are the most critical? Would you say supply chain? Would you say quality assurance? Would you say production? Would you say warehouse, logistics? What are the most critical departments that you must ensure, right, are functioning at 100% capacity with good quality people?
If you don't have good quality people, you cannot run a pharma industry. The only thing you can do is to make them good quality, train them,
build them up.
Yes, because capability of human beings are vast, but you may not know it.
You can bring it out of it.
So everyone you must work. You say 5, okay, 5 is fine. 5 is fine, but you may have to extend. If you don't get that one, and people are used to that actually. It's important for people to know the essence of being in this type of industry, which many people choose to be. They're not forced to talk. When they start, they love it. And they see what people they have done, the good they've done, then they love it. So I don't know what I've answered your question.
When you train people internally within a business, is meant to create some level of loyalty to the company. But what we find as manufacturers is you build people's talent and skills, and then they move away very quickly from being loyal to being ambitious. And that ambition is they now want to take their skills somewhere else.
People are
in exchange for maybe higher pay or whatever. How do you manage? Because I've heard you say throughout these interviews, you're a big believer in building people,
yes,
and training people and encouraging people. Does that help your retention as far as staff, or do you still find that you build people and then you start getting resignation letters 6 months after that? I'm leaving, I'm going here, I'm going there. How are you able to manage those things, and do you experience it as an industrialist?
It happens, especially the Japa. Japa syndrome abroad, you understand?
Yeah, we lost a lot of talent.
Yes, you can tell them not to go. So what we do is we continue to encourage and, find out why you want to leave. Are you going to do better? What are we not doing that you want to go and experience? And we discuss it on those levels.
I think so.
Because sometimes they're not doing well by losing you.
I'm using this opportunity, this interview, to also steal some skills.
Why not now?
I can go and apply it. But what I also find is, there's a Maslow theory of motivation, how you motivate people, and the different types of motivation, right? There's financial motivation, there's mentorship, there's welfare, and all types of job security. There are different ways of motivating people. Is there anything that you would say Emzor does that is unique, that would create some kind of cult-like following for and love for the business, that people are just so dedicated they don't want to leave? I'll give you an example. In my own factory, what we found was two major problems within the employment market in Nigeria that if you can solve, it makes people very settled and allows them execute their jobs the way they should. And those two problems were accommodation and feeding. And what we decided to do was to build accommodation on site and have everybody resident within the facility. So people live there, they don't have to worry about transportation. And we also provide meals, 2 meals a day, according to the shifts. Is there anything, what is Emzor doing as well to ensure that the welfare of staff at a good level, to always encourage them to be stakeholders in the business?
Food is important in this country.
Very important.
We give one
meal a day.
1 meal a day for those working there.
On the shift, yeah.
Then the other one is 1 meal a day. And I understand that if you go to the canteen and see the quantity of food
that each person eats.
Wow. Because when we started, in England, you have a sandwich.
Yeah.
I took my sandwich. Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much, ma. They turn back again.
To go back to the line.
To the line. What is this woman is giving them?
This sandwich.
What is this sandwich?
It's too small. This one is a starter.
That is how we learned that we have to be giving food. And and then those that are in the factory, I understand that there are heaps of diarrhea and things they eat is so much, and it doesn't harm them. So, we don't have opportunity of building houses for them. But we do transport allowance and we do housing allowance.
Just taking care of
Yes.
in their salary structures and all that.
Yes, but you know what's happening? Things are changed. It's not as good as it used to be. So
I think that's encouraging. I also find that new generation style, my own style of leadership is collaboration, not competition. So what I see is I think there should be more collaboration amongst the pharma businesses that are manufacturing.
yes,
I would like a situation one day where there is an outing from the Medin facility that is just across your facility here to all our staff coming on an excursion to Emzor for them to see
is there Medin?
the factory that is just here.
Okay.
I would like a situation where we can have a day where our whole staff come here and vice versa. Your staff come, or maybe even organize football tournaments between you two companies for recreation, for sporting activities, because I find that these team bonding exercises would help generally build up the sector, get people more encouraged and get people more committed into some of these things. Those are some of the new generation ideas that we're thinking about to try and encourage the staff and encourage and motivate people to want to work in this sector. But I mean, that brings me to my next question around the foundation. I know there's a Tola Okoli Foundation that has been established. Can you tell us why did you start the foundation and how is it going, and what's the connection between the foundation and Emzor?
Thank you very much. I lost my son, Chike, the last boy, and we had to, because not only was he set to do a lot in Nigeria when he came back, but so much loved and all that. So we have a Tola Okoli Foundation. So we, established a foundation in his name. There are a lot of people that came, to, assist us. And it's on two. The foundation is on, I think, education and health, because he died of cardiac arrest when he was at the gym. So we have for healthy heart. So we have a lot of going to do I forgot what it's called. It's like every day. Yeah. To check, health checks.
Okay.
There's health checks and people loved it. And they invite. So they joined with Emzor Foundation and Tola Okoli Foundation. They joined together now, to do it. And like last weekend, the people were complaining Saturday, Sunday, Arise. I think we had Arise. Yeah, they had their event, and even they come to visit a lot. This Sunday, I think they're going to bring Captain else. So, that's very good. And also education, which entrepreneurship. We have a university in Oka, Nandeskiwe University, where we donated a building for, for that. And all the entrepreneurship studies go through there. All the universities have to do entrepreneurs. So it's going well. It's good.
I think our society is built from the ability of people to make their own contributions. I think foundations are very essential. I started my own foundation in 2019, right after COVID. Tola Awosika Foundation was born as well to make its own contributions in the area of healthcare, light infrastructure, education, sports, to assist the people in the different communities that don't have those privileges. I think it's important that as business people, you're able to sacrifice some part of your income to help develop communities. So I think the Chike Okoli Foundation is doing a great job, and we encourage that they continue to do what they do. And I think it's very, very impactful. I think I'll go to another question that I have, and that is what the next 10 years will look like for Emzor. In 10 years, you'll be 92, which means that'll be like your 16th birthday. You still have a lot of energy, and you still be here strong by the special grace of God. 10 years from now, at that age, what would you look back and say, okay, it was all worth it? So we'd like to know
in 10 years' time, I would like the government to face our industry. So all those that are leaving the country, we stay and develop it. The agriculture we have here, they don't have it elsewhere. And also minerals and everything. People must be encouraged. Those that are doing factory, like us in pharmaceuticals, they should pay attention and make sure that every need is met. Very, very, very important. And if we want to borrow money, it should be made easy.
Single-digit interest.
Yeah, it should be made easy. Yeah. So that when people come into the sector, they are not suffering. Because if they suffer, they'll go.
Yeah.
We don't want them to go. Health is important for our country, and it's important for us, and it will help the government to get more accolades,
And create jobs.
Yes, create jobs for people. So it is, So you said in 10 years I'll be 90. Do I know how old I am? Do I know?
No.
Now I'm looking. Because, I don't know. It's a number. Because I don't know.
Amazing.
I don't think about age. I don't know why.
What I hear you say is, for the next decade, you want the government's involvement.
From today, I want them.
For them to be
to
be more aggressive, more involved, more intentional. Don't you think 50% of that effort to ensure government is doing the right thing, do you think it should come from us, or should it come from them? To push government to do what?
We have to go. We have to go. A few times that we were invited to program in Abuja by the presidency. You would think the president would be there.
Yeah.
You left last night.
And we'll send the representative.
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting for all the questions and everything. I'm still waiting for the answer. Yes, but I think that he will, turn around and see what's happening.
Yeah.
Not just what people tell you.
Correct.
Because if you're not involved directly, you may not know what's happening. But if you're involved directly and know what's happening, you are going to change.
Yeah.
So it is 50-50. We must not give up, asking government to help. We must not. And I'm sure that this second half, they are going to do this. They will answer the call. We shouldn't be tired. As you said, it's good to partner with ourselves so we can, jointly, yes.
Jointly put the pressure on them. I completely agree. I think jointly, if go together as a body of business people who are investing their time, resources into the country, trying to create jobs, I think that voice collectively would definitely be answered by the government. And you're right, the government cannot stay away from the progress of these essential sectors. And I think it's very critical. And I believe the government will answer that call very shortly. And speaking about coming together, we have Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. We have PGM Man. How helpful have these organizations been over the period of time? I'm a new member, 5-year member, and for me, I'm yet to really, really see the impact of those organizations on some of these pressing issues that we face on a day-to-day basis. But it might be different. Maybe 30 years ago, they were more useful or they were more impactful. We'd like to know a little bit about those organizations, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, that have been a member from probably inception till now. How useful have they been? And do you think it's important that they also jointly with the business owners get more aggressive in lobbying government?
Yes. Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association. I used to be vice president many years ago. It's a good organization. And the only thing, I think they are less effective now than we were before. Maybe because of the way they find that they are not paying attention to them. And most of the people that hold positions there don't have factory. So maybe that's why. But they should be gingered up to, collaborate with the Manufacturers Association, Pharmaceutical Manufacturer, which is us, which we also have to do much better. We have to push harder. It's all for the good of all of us. So we have to push, we have to do better, and we have to shout. The government will hear us. And things will be better.
I agree.
So it's all for good.
I completely agree. I think you made a very, very valid point that if people that are leading these organizations are not also stakeholders themselves, they might not understand where it hurts the most, and that might not allow them to be as aggressive as they should be. So it really is something for the leadership of those organizations to consider, having people on the board or at management level that are also involved in the day-to-day running of industries, so they can begin to highlight some of those pressure points. Speaking about that, there's been, over the last decade, there's been a huge transition in terms of technology, and also now, more recently, AI. You go around and you're hearing artificial intelligence, technology replacing jobs, AI taking away, making life easy for everyone. What is Emzor doing as far as keeping up with technology, ensuring that they are up to date with technology, ensuring that they're not left behind, and ensuring they're going along with the trend? For example, our finished goods warehouse, we have this entire initiative of replacing the physical warehouse workers who stack up the cartons on the racks, replacing them with robots. And those robots are going to do the job for them because it's more effective in terms of how many they can do in a minute. How is this trend that currently exists today in the world? How is Emzor making the adjustments? And where do you think the world stands 10 years from now with all this technology being introduced?
It's really amazing and great because, things are changing and all companies must learn and see where they can come in. The IT department are doing quite a lot to see how they can shift.
Very good.
But I don't think we're there yet. We're not there yet. But it's a good thing because some of our young people in Nigeria are embracing that, and they have companies and that will be good because it will stop all this going up and down and focus in Nigeria and make our country.
So Emzor is encouraging technology and
of
also
course,
innovating and going ahead with it.
Without technology, we cannot do anything, sir. We're at a low level.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. The manufacturing sector is very capital intensive.
Yeah.
And I want to touch a bit about finance. access to finance. Now you're a huge conglomerate, so it's easy to attract capital. People see the business with over 200 different products live in the market, decades of experience, supply chain issues resolved, logistics issues, warehousing, everything done. A business that wants to start today, a manufacturer that wants to manufacture cough syrup. How does it get access to funding? And what are the potential challenges that they are likely to face, which maybe you faced in the early days, maybe you didn't? It'll be nice for the world to know how it was then in terms of access to funding, and what are the hurdles now?
Young people that are trying to start business, they need funding. They need funding, and government have to create some avenue for that. And I think there are one or two, but it should, be done wider. So, and the young people, they go to schools and tell them, you can be given this
access to this.
Yes, if you do this. So it is very, very important. During our time, it's not because the dollar rate is different. Nobody was talking about foreign exchange. When we started, pounds was it the naira? Naira was stronger than
was
pound.
stronger. It was one
Was stronger.
One naira
80
was
something.
80 cents.
So
80 pence.
Yeah, so it's as things are changing, strategies should evolve to assist and to ensure that we don't lag behind. I think it's very important.
Okay, I think it's definitely important to know. The government will say to you, and they will argue that they have institutions that have been set up to help promote people who want access to finance. Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, infrastructure banks, the CBN, CRR funding. These things are available, but the issue is the accessibility of them is there are a lot of red tape around having access. You go to the Bank of Industry today and you apply for a equipment finance loan of 5 billion, 10 billion, and they're asking you to bring a bank guarantee from a commercial bank. We all know today that commercial banks today, right, are charging as high as 35% interest rates, and bank guarantees are usually backed by cash collateral. So it's almost counterproductive when you're saying to someone who has a brilliant idea that I can give you this money, but you have to go to a commercial bank to go and get a guarantee that I'll get the money back. It seems like government are not willing. It seems like some of this industry, some of this finance products that they've put in place are not set up to be accessible. And I think this is where, as industrialists and as business people, we want to see a little bit of tweaking and changes, where government and these stakeholders are willing to take a risk, because the industry is about taking a risk, right? You start building, you order equipment, you install equipment, you train staff, you commission the equipment, and you hope that the equipment work. So there's a lot of risk considering the process. It's not like a trade business where you buy, there's a market to buy, you sell, you get your money. So because you're putting in so much work and there's so much risk associated with it, government should be willing to come halfway in taking that risk with you. They said, okay, you know what, this idea is good. We're willing to give you the money for 10 years and hopefully you get it right. I'm not saying there shouldn't be collaterals or those kind of things in place, but I personally feel the red tape behind getting access to finance is a lot more now. And what you're saying to us is 40 years ago, this wasn't the case. It was easier because you didn't have currency issues. The naira was strong and etc. So I think, like you've said, it's one of those things that would need to continue to sing to government until they answer. And I think it's very critical. I want to talk a bit about the sub-region, West Africa, and Africa as a whole.
Okay.
How much impact has Emzor had in the West African sub-region in terms of supplying medication cross-border trade to countries like Ghana, Benin Republic, Chad, Cameroon, etc., then part of the West African states? Is Emzor participating across Nigeria? Are they looking to expand beyond Nigeria and go and open factories somewhere in maybe East Africa or Central Africa to supply the rest of Africa? Is there a plan in place, or is the Nigerian market still so demanding and you're still focused on it?
Thank you very much. Yes, you're right. Nigerian market is huge, demanding. We don't want other non-Nigerians to come and, take over what we should be doing.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of work, and then both us and the government should work together and make sure that happens. It's very, very important. We in Emzor were doing trading with Ghana.
I know, okay.
But we're not at the moment. There were funding issues and payment and all that. But right now we are in Cote d'Ivoire.
Okay.
No, not Cote d'Ivoire.
Benin Republic?
Is it Cote d'Ivoire? No, it's not Abidjan. It's not Abidjan. Sierra Leone, yes, Sierra Leone, and also, what's the other one? And Liberia. Okay. And General Obasanjo is trying to get us to go to Congo.
Okay.
It takes us to Congo to invest there, which is good. But there's a lot we can do. Yeah. You cannot just establish a factory for just one country, because there might be something that you have that you can give another country. And, so we have not ruled that out.
Yeah, I brought this up because I personally feel the unification of African states is very vital in positioning Africa as a global powerhouse.
Yes.
Right? I think there's a saying that, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And I think it's important for the African countries to unite and make cross-border trade a lot easier. Ensure that people who are already established, like yourself, in these industries have access to those markets as well, to help stimulate those economies, reduce the reliance on importation outside of Africa. So I think it's also an important pressing point that needs to be communicated to government so they can take it to the at the ECOWAS level for discussion, because I think this is what strengthens us as a continent. Yes. I think it's very important for us to do that. So we've heard quite a lot, and we've had a lot of conversations today about Nigeria as it was 40 years ago, when manufacturing was still new but very encouraged. How Emzor has started, where it is today, his plans for the future. And I've personally have learned quite a lot of lessons that would help shape our decisions in the future. We've also heard that age is just a number. There is no male, there's no female. There is a human being, and there's what you want to do as a person. You put your mind to it, you go after it. All this I've heard from an amazing giant that has done so many great things for the country and also in the pharmaceutical sector. However, you must ask yourself periodically, every now and then, I'm going to ask the question, I'm 82, I've done all these great things. There's a question that needs to be answered. Was it all worth it? People want to know if 40 years, 50 years of constantly in the struggle, constantly going through one issue or the other, fighting different battles, putting out fires. You're here today and you're still in the office at this age and showing and still have great plans to move the company forward. It must be worth it. But I need to ask, was it all worth it? Is it worth it? Because people like us, 10, 15 years in the entrepreneurial struggle, we wake up some days and we're like, I don't know if this country is worth this headache I'm going for. But we go back to bed and we wake up again and find the fire to fight, and we keep fighting. But it's encouraging to know that 50 years and going, you've been in this fight. I want to know, is it going to be worth it? Am I going to be able to sit down when I'm 82 and say it was worth it?
You know, age is a number. It depends on how you are. It depends on the grace of God upon your life. Because, you know, I never talk about age. I never feel old. I don't even know what that is. Because I understand that somebody will say, that old woman. Another one say, if you say you're in trouble. So, age is numbers, you know, the sex you belong to is a number. It doesn't really matter. You know, if I retire today, I have other things to do.
Wow.
But I have, if I'm needed because of maybe history, because I just give my, you know, opinion. And that's mainly what I do at the moment. I used to love going to the factory and being part of a factory worker. Not anymore. But there are a lot of new challenges that one has to, you know, if you are well and you can, you know, assist, why not? That's how I feel about life. I don't know, I don't know, but I'm fine. Very, very fine.
Amazing. Coming from you, I think is very encouraging for those of us who are facing some new challenges, but some, based on our conversation, are not new. Some of these things that we're going through have happened before. And it took the resilient ones and the ones that were determined to hang in there, fight through those challenges, and it's worth it at the end of the day. So I'm really blessed for this conversation, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And thank you so much for being on this show. The world is listening. The guy entrepreneur, the lady entrepreneur, they are all watching, and I'm sure they're going to be very encouraged by this conversation. So we'd like to thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to having future conversations with you.
Thank
you very much.
And I'm happy to be wishing Dr. Tola Awosika happy 40th birthday.
Noor TV, showing on Verizon Fios channel 269, Optimum channel 1100, and on Digicel. Or on our website www.noortv.com, or download the app from the App Store or Play Store.